Hello and welcome back to Burning Questions. My name is Mbali, and guys, today I have an amazing show. This Wednesday, rather. Today I have Herman, the director of Fan, and Sholin, the host of Freedom Fanatics. Guys, welcome to Burning Questions.
Hello, Molly.
Hi,
It's
Molly.
good to be here.
It's good to have you guys here. So, guys, let's get right into it. So, I think 2 weeks back, me and Herman did a episode on a question that says, "Are South Africans entitled?" And we posted a 1-2 minute video on TikTok. And people went wild. You guys did not hold back on what you thought. It was very interesting to read the comments. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to answer the comments rather, and maybe Herman, can you maybe give us like a kind of 2 minute explanation of what this video is on about before we literally fly it for the people?
Yes. So, I've got some data here. It's a graph that I'm going to try and sneak into the frame here.
Okay.
So, what you see here is the red lines are the people in on social grants, and then the lighter lines are the people in work. And you see here where social grants begin. We actually have more people in work than people on social grants. But then a few years ago, when was it? 2010, 11, thereabouts. That thing actually changed around. So that we now have, and it hasn't changed since. Now we have more people on social grants than we have people in work, and that's just it's not a sustainable situation to be in, because the people in work are the people that pay the tax, that fund the state, that fund the social grants. So if you've got more people receiving money from the social grant system than paying tax into the system in the first place, it really is a dangerous situation. So this idea of are South Africans entitled really comes from this notion of, are South Africans just sitting about waiting for the state to look after them, or are they? Yeah, that's basically the context. Is like, are South Africans just waiting, or are they working?
Yeah, okay. Alrighty, guys, let us watch this short clip and then we can go ahead. Okay.
Yes, they are. So the first thing is, are South Africans entitled? The temptation is to say, yes, they are. Yes, they are. I mean, just look at it. When, especially when you mention social grants, when social grants were started about 15, 16 years ago, there were more people working than people receiving social grants. But in the last decade or so, that has actually swapped around, that there are now more people on social grants than working. So that would give us reason to think, yeah, South Africans are entitled, because I mean, just look at it. You've got the option between working for an income or just waiting for an income, and it's like South Africans are choosing to wait for an income a lot more than working for an income. So in that sense,
of which maybe I might just disturb you there. Like a ordinary South African might then come and say, "I'm not waiting for social grants. I would like to have a job, to work for my income, but there are no jobs in South Africa." So then, does that still say yes, you are entitled?
No, that's where the complexity actually comes in, and you put your finger precisely on that spot, because we shouldn't mind read millions of people, because it's very easy and very lazy to do that, to go, of course, people don't want to work, they get social grants. But then we have to look deeper exactly at what you're saying, in the sense that, but these people that are on social grants, is it that they don't want to work, or is it that they can't find work? And that's a very difficult question to answer. And I think actually the answer is a bit of both. So the first thing is, are South
Alrighty, guys. So we've just watched that short clip by HP, explaining whether South Africans are entitled or not. Let's go right into the first comment. This first comment says, "This is speaking from privilege. He doesn't understand there are many people out there looking for jobs." HP, they say you're speaking from a point of privilege. Do you mind elaborating whether that's where you are coming from?
I mean, it's just like this person wasn't listening to what I was saying. I mean, precisely what I was saying is that you shouldn't mind read people. You shouldn't just jump to the assumption that because people are on social grants, they don't want to work. That's why I made this, two-hand comment: is on the one hand, on the other hand. And that's also why I ended the discussion with, I think it's a bit of both. There are
Mm,
South Africans who don't want to look for work because it's easier to just get a social grant. But there are South Africans who want to work, but just can't find work or can't get their feet onto the housing ladder because either
mm,
they're not politically connected enough to benefit from the BEE system, which
Mm,
we all know stands for blatant elite enrichment, not black economic
mm-hmm.
empowerment, because it's
Yeah.
enriched a lot of elites, but it hasn't empowered black South Africans. Or you've got young people being, checkmated by the minimum wage that essentially
Mm,
forces people to pay a higher wage than perhaps someone just entering the jobs market with a low skills based South African public school education, and that sort of prices them out of the market. So this person's thinking that I'm speaking from privilege. Well, firstly, I mean, what does that mean to speak from privilege? It is just what
mm,
we call in logical analysis an ad hominem attack. Because of the person making the argument is somehow invalid. So I'm sorry, but that doesn't fly in Logic 101. You'll just get a fail grade there. But then the
mm.
second part is the other place where this person will clearly get a fail grade is in just basic listening, because I'm not saying
Yes,
South
sir.
Africans are lazy, are entitled. I'm saying the
Mm-hmm.
system is so that even those people who want to work are
yeah.
forced to look like they are only waiting for an income. And that's the
Mm.
point I'm making. So if people are gonna hoy these sorts of millies, they must hit the first time and knock me out, because this sort of thing ain't gonna fly.
Definitely. Sholin, I think this one you can answer. This comes from Uvus Muzi, and he says, so I'm reading from my phone, guys, because
Is the guy.
it's new age, Gen Z vibes. This ninja be talking like social grants is 5K or more. No one chooses that. Jobs, there are no jobs in South Africa, and that's that. So he says he ends his sentence with car. So car means that there are no jobs at all. So,
Mm.
Sholen, what do you think? So he says Herman is speaking to a point of social grants of 5K. How much are social grants actually?
Yeah, so there are a lot of social grants that goes from like
Mm-hmm.
this the basic social grant, which is the most common one. That one is only 350 rand. And as this as this person comments saying that no one chooses to not have a job, I agree with
Mm,
him, because if you could have a sustainable income that is generated in an legal manner, that brings a lot of integrity, like, and respect and honor, because you've worked for what you've earned. And I
mm,
agree with him. But we also need to look at the reasons for why there are no jobs in South Africa. That's a more
yeah.
important issue to tackle. And key issues, policies that the government does, the ANC government specifically, does initiate and that they have put into place are things like BE, which is supposedly meant to be Black economic empowerment, but it
Yeah.
does not take place. It only enriches those who are connected. We know
Mm-hmm.
minimum wage, again, as HP has mentioned, that locks out people from being
Mm-hmm.
employed, having an entry level job into the job market. It restricts people from entering the job. Another very dangerous one that's also hopefully not going to be taking place is the expropriation without compensation. This will
Mm,
allow government to take away all the property, not only from individuals and communities, but also from businesses, small businesses, that are actually the main generators of job creation. They are the ones who employ the majority of people. And
mm,
that we also need to look at that for sure. And another thing also about this of waiting for a job to be given to you, I think entrepreneurship is not necessarily emphasized enough in South Africa, and it has not been built into our
yeah.
education system enough, because we
Mhm.
shouldn't just be waiting and hoping to get a phone call or a message from someone somewhere with a job for us. But we should be able to have the skills that we have generated, the knowledge we've gained, and create our own job accordingly. We should be able
Mm.
to run a business and deliver service to people where that service is needed. So I also would also encourage that if you are waiting for a job, look at the skills that you have. Look at
Mm.
what you can do with it and how you can offer it as a service to other people. And now, just to hit back at him that previously made a comment to your HB about privilege. So
Mm.
now my question is, so what will his response be to me then? Because I'm also telling him that, you know what, these are issues that are prohibiting job creation. So am I also speaking from a point of privilege? Or what is his response then?
Yeah, definitely. That is a good one. Here is another one that is very interesting. This person, laughing emoji number one. This guy must be high. There's no other explanation. HP, did you take a blunt that morning when you recorded this? This is a safe space, you know. You can.
Yeah, no, you see, the problem is the real thing that's high in South Africa is unemployment and youth unemployment.
Yes,
So
sir.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
if
Yes,
we want to
sir.
talk about what's too high, then I think we
Mm-hmm.
should start there.
Yeah.
If we want to be serious about this, if we want to be really serious about this, we must diagnose the
Mm-hmm.
problems correctly. We can't just be lazy and assuming, privilege, lived experience. These things don't solve problems. They,
Mm.
at best, they illustrate a problem.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what happens in South Africa. We've got several social grants, and actually they can amount to 3,000, 4,000, in some cases even 5,000 rand a month.
Mm.
I mean, if you've got the basic child income grant for the first child, you get 740, and then it sort of declines to around 440 or 500 rand after that. You've got four
Mm.
children, you've got three children, you add that to the basic income grant. It starts to become not a real income, but just
Mm-hmm.
enough of an income to discourage people from actually getting to work. And I'm not attacking people.
Mm.
If the state makes it easier to wait for work or to wait for an income than to work for an income, I think any person would rather wait for an income. It's just
Yeah.
easier. We human beings are
Yeah.
made to figure out where's the easiest thing we can do and then to do that. So I'm not blaming people here.
Mm.
But what I think we should look at is something that Cholin just mentioned is the dignity of a job, the dignity that goes into knowing that I can eat this month, my kids can eat this month because I used what was given to me, what I've received to help someone else. Because that's all a
Mm.
work really is. That's all a job really is. It
Yeah.
is you get money for helping other people solve the problems they are willing to pay money for.
Mm.
And that is something that we shouldn't underestimate the value of. I'm not, for Pete's sakes, I'm not blaming people for not being in jobs. Just like you
Yeah.
can't really blame someone who's addicted to a substance, but you have to help them. You don't have to blame them, but you have to definitely get round to helping them. And people think jobs need to be complex. They don't. If you've got a bicycle and you've got 2 feet and you've got a basic idea of where the local Pick and Pay is and where the local
Mm.
retirement home is,
Mm.
well, you've got a job there where you can start helping the old people buy their groceries. Help them. I mean, make a list, charge them 10 Rand, 20 Rand per trip that go do their groceries for them. I think Checker 6060 charges
Mm-hmm.
35 Rand. So if you can do it for cheaper, you've got a good shot there. So if you've got a
Yeah.
bicycle, if you've got feet, if you've got a knowledge of where a Pick and Pay is, and if you've got a pen and a pencil, you've got the basics of a job. The problem is also that we have instances like the Sandwich King in Johannesburg. Now, I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys remember this, but this is about a year ago, where this
Mm-hmm.
guy called Sandwich King, he's on social media, he
Mm-hmm.
makes sandwiches
Yeah.
to look after his daughter. He's not an old guy. He's a young guy, our age, a bit
Mm-hmm.
younger than me, I think.
Yeah.
And the municipality of Johannesburg said to him, "Oh, Wenna, you can't sell your sandwiches here." Why? Well, municipal regulations. So it was against the law for Sandwich King to use his own
Mm.
money to buy his own ingredients, to make
Yeah.
sandwiches, and then sell them
Mm-hmm.
in the city of Johannesburg to people who are on break. That was illegal. So the police
Yeah.
confiscated all his sandwiches and for a few days, he couldn't make any income. So when we're talking about people wanting jobs but not being able to get them, it's that sort of nonsense that's standing in the way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, fam, you did say at some point that you don't blame these people, but Sholan, I think maybe this one can be yours. Here's someone who seems to have given up in life. He says, I don't know about others, but I'm entitled. Matter of fact, I want my 350 rand. Actually, they should increase it to 450. What do you think, Sholan? Because this might be a young person about our age, and he's already like, guys, I'm done. There's nothing more left for me. Give me the 350. That's all I'll sit and wait around for.
Yeah, I think that's extremely unfortunate that that's the point that he has reached, especially with the
Yeah.
circumstances in our country. I mean, the entire like COVID-19 period and when lockdowns just absolutely destroyed businesses, I think that was a great incentive for the ANC government specifically to use social grants as a means to make up for their failures. And that and incentivizing people to instead be just becoming entitled instead of actually gaining honor or dignity, that is your government is actually being counterproductive and it's causing a sense of dependency on the state. Because another thing, as HP mentioned, I had no idea that the childcare grant was that much at around 700. That is one of the biggest problems I think in our community where I live that we face as well, where we see
Yeah.
teenage pregnancy skyrocketing because so many people understand that, you know what, I should just go have 3, 4 kids, and you know what, then
Exactly.
the government's going to look after me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hold up, the government is not meant to be your baby daddy. I mean,
Yes.
one of the biggest issues that we
Yes,
have
sir.
is the breakdown of our families. And when women are incentivized by the government, where the government tells them, we'll give you 700 rand, but you need to take care of your child alone with any other sort of income, and you have to be dependent on us. If that's the conditions the government sets for women in our society and people in our society, no wonder things are heading in that direction that we are going. And another thing I
Mm-hmm.
want to say is that, yeah, you can become despondent or feel a bit entitled. But as we see, the best way for you to see things improve is not to go then and protest and burn down facilities in your
Yeah.
community, burn down roads, burn down clinics, destroy infrastructure. That's not the direction you should go. You should actually have taken the advantage and the privilege of a real privilege, which is to vote and make your voice heard in a rational, basic, and something that's actually meant to be a human right. That's the way you go and put down your vote. That's
Yeah.
that should be at the back of your mind when you put down your vote. You should be, as we said, what government has been in power since we've seen the social grant overtake the amount of people in job. You need to look at that government and hold them accountable. That's my
Yeah.
that's my
Molly,
opinion.
Molly, if I could quickly perhaps jump in here. That person says they want their 300 rand a month. Why not 450? Why not
No, he says
550?
matter of fact, increase it to 450.
Okay, why not?
That's
Why
what he
not
ends up
five?
saying.
Why not 550? In fact, why not 450,000 rand a month? Why? Why?
Yes.
Why stop at 450? Why is he so modest and so so timid in asking? If you're going to ask for the money of other people, money you did not work for, why stop at 450? Make it 400. Make it 4.5 million rand. Ask for
Yes.
that. If you're entitled, why draw the line there? Why limit your ambition to be ambitionless? Now, the reason is because money doesn't come from heaven. It doesn't fall from the sky. It needs to be worked for here on earth. And in his gut, is somewhere in his gut or her gut, this person knows that they have to cap it somewhere at 450 because it has to be realistic.
Yeah.
Why? Because somewhere deep inside they understand that people work for this money, that people earn this money, that it needs to be paid for. And now if
Yeah.
some Khomtor is going to come to me and say, oh yeah, but the government can just print money, I'm just going to say, well, you don't understand basics of how currency works.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I have, let's say this pen I have is very valuable because there's only one like it in the world, and I make another pen, this pen's value goes down 50%. If I add another pen, this pen's value goes down to 33%. If I add
Mm,
another pen, this pen's value goes down to 25. Now, the same principle applies to the rand in your pocket. If you have one rand and it is of a certain value, but the government then prints another rand, for every rand the government injects into the system, or I say the government, the Reserve Bank injects into the system, it
mhm,
dilutes. It's like whiskey or juice becoming weaker and weaker and weaker because you're adding more and more water. So
mm,
either this person wants to cap their privilege or their entitlement at 450
yeah.
rand a month because they understand it needs to be worked for,
Mm,
or they cap it there because they sort of understand that you can't just print magic money. This isn't Monopoly. It's not a
mhm,
board game. This is real life. So if this person is going to be honest for just 5 minutes, they're going to understand it's their entitlement and, dare I say, their privilege of
mm,
thinking they are entitled to someone else's money that is
yeah.
really going to slowly drip feed the poison into this country that will kill it.
Mm, mm. Guys, last comment. I promise. This one is from I can't read this name. People and their social media handles. So this one reads: White people should work alone. We all wait for their tax money because they never paid for their legacies. He oversimplified to explain his racism. Yo,
Okay. Where
how?
no. Right. Okay. So, firstly, according to this person, Sholan, get off the podcast, and Bali, get off the podcast now.
Yeah, it's been
Uh,
great.
so it's been
Yes,
great.
it's
It's been great, but just go. The second thing. The
definitely.
second thing
And we are
is
gone. We are
no.
literally gone.
Come back.
Yeah,
Come back. Okay. So
we are
the
back.
second.
Yes.
Thank goodness. The second thing here is this person doesn't understand taxes.
Mm,
If apartheid, as it did, disproportionately benefited white people, it did. Of course, it did. The progressive tax system that we've had since 1994
mm,
has taxed the wealthiest people the heaviest. So if his
yes.
point, or this person's point, is that white people were made rich by apartheid, then he doesn't understand that the richest have been taxed more vociferously and heavier in the last 20 years than he
Mm,
seems to understand.
yeah.
Because then you have built into the system um, a tax on illegitimately gained wealth. Because the idea is, according to this person, that apartheid made white people wealthy. But then he must understand that the wealthy have been taxed more than the middle class and the poor. So in some way, if this person thinks that white South Africans aren't paying their fair share, he
Mm,
simply doesn't understand how the last 30 years of tax income has been generated. Now, I'm not saying here black people don't pay tax. I'm
mhm,
exactly granting the factual basis that apartheid disadvantaged black people, so there wasn't any money to tax. Now, you
mm,
can't have it both ways. You can't say apartheid made white people rich, but white people haven't paid their fair share since. You must choose one. Either
mm,
apartheid made white people not much richer than anyone else, which is nonsense. It made white people rich. But then you must acknowledge that the tax system taxed the richest people more. That's the whole
mhm,
idea of a progressive income tax. So
yeah.
this person is really just, I mean, yeah, it's so easy to play around the race game. And if this person wants to attack my race, fine, fair enough. But I mean, that makes you the racist, because if you're going
Yeah.
to look up the definition of racism, it is to attribute to someone's behavior due to the color of their skin certain ideas and certain values. And if that's the case, well, you must miss Hendrik Verwoerd an awful lot.
Yeah.
Hectic. But yeah, Vam and Sholan, thank you so much for that. Any last parting words from you, Sholan, on this episode, on this last episode for the year of Burning Questions?
I always love this episodes when the three of us are together because I think these are always the best ones and the most fun to
Literally.
have. So I
Yeah.
can't wait for this. Sad that this is the final episode of for 2021, but I can't wait to be back next year with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Mr.
And
HP.
yes, fam, I want to say to you guys how proud I am of you. A few months ago, we started FAN, the Freedom Advocacy Network, and we've reached almost 10 million impressions on social media. We've reached almost 2 million individuals through our platforms. It's been an amazing journey, and I really look forward to the new year. Sholin with Freedom Fanatics, Fam, you with Burning Questions. It's been a joy.
And you with taking the stand.
Yeah, but with my with whatever that might be. But I'm immensely proud of the FAN team, and I look forward to 2022 with you all, and to all our listeners, to all our viewers. Join us next year. God bless. Your freedom is worth fighting for.
Definitely, guys. And as HP said, we really, really appreciate your support. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Remember, your freedom is worth fighting for.